Hello and welcome to another episode of Startup Hustle Middle East. And sorry, I know we haven't been consistent. We didn't post last week, but that's because we were super busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week, Sid and I were on our own reality show event thing that we were attending and participating in. So, I don't think it should be a surprise that we love Shark Tank. And we were in Dubai's own version of the Shark Tank called the Equity Room last week.
Yeah.
So I think it was interesting because we both have different perspectives from the event because we were both involved in the event. And
So I was a participant trying to pitch EjarCar, and Mamta was hosting. So, because she hosts Startup Hustle Middle East and a couple other things, they asked her to host the event, which was pretty cool. So she got to see all the startups, but we were in the green room. And so we were kind of isolated before we could go and pitch. And it was also the very first episode of the Equity Room.
Yeah, they were shooting the pilot.
So it was the pilot, and they were trying to film it for TV.
Yeah.
So
who knows? We may be on TV. But I think their idea is to create that pilot and take it to TV stations, and then it may or may not get picked up. So it was interesting. It was interesting to be a part of it from all these different angles. And of course, I was even more involved as part of the event because EjarCar was pitching as well, and I could see the pitch from backstage. So why don't you tell everyone about your pitch?
So what happened was we were trying to raise $200,000 for 20% of the company. And so I had my whole deck prepared. I had about 15 to 20 slides. I know that's a lot, but they told us there's no time limit. So I figured I might as well include more details about the company. And the idea was that there were going to be 5 sharks in front of me who could invest. But once they opted out, that's it. If all 5 sharks said they were out, then we were eliminated. And also there was a crowd aspect to it. So, so the crowd who attended, there were about 300-400 people there. And they had an app, or they could download an app, or it was a web app or something like that.
It was a web app.
It was a web app where they could log in and then vote for the different founders and their pitches. And so that score would be on the screen behind you. So it's like how much the audience is kind of liking your presentation or your pitch.
Yeah, and looking at the pitches and how the audience rating was going, it was having some influence on the founders. Most of the times it mimicked what the sharks were thinking, the kind of questions that they were asking and how the responses were being done. But there were some times I think that the sharks stayed on longer because the audience were giving a really high score to the participants.
Yeah, but pitching on stage, I couldn't really see the audience score. So that didn't affect me at all.
It doesn't affect... Yeah, initially the idea was that the founder can also see it, which I think would have probably caused a little bit more drama, which is good for TV. Because if you're seeing that your score's tanking, then you'd get even more nervous. And then you have these sharks that can be quite intimidating as well.
True.
So, but I think it was having an influence on the sharks themselves.
Yeah. So, one thing I wanted to discuss was that, when you're pitching to somebody, as it is, you're nervous, and as it is, you want to be prepared for all the questions and all that. But then when you add this element of it being filmed for TV, and that if you mess up, that you know how reality
you'd
is.
be the joke,
they'll make a joke out of it, or you'll be
but I don't
the
think
loser founder or whatever.
But I don't think you have anything to worry about there. So
to cut the suspense, I did not raise any money this time.
It was a bummer,
unfortunately. But a couple of things that I disliked about the format.
Yeah.
So one thing was that they didn't let me complete my pitch. So literally 2 slides in where I just explained what Like even I just started with what the problem is. I just said that EjarCar is a marketplace, and that what the problem was, and then immediately the sharks started asking me questions, which would have been answered if they let me carry on with my presentation in a much better way. It would have been explained better because we had a demo, we had a presentation, we had all the stuff. But they just immediately started bombarding me with questions. So I think it's part of the show.
Yeah, which I think honestly you fielded quite well. I think there was one moment where a shark was asking you, Adriana was the shark, and she was asking you about your revenue model, and you didn't answer that question. But that was also, I think, because there was another question that you were trying to answer, and you were on an important slide with the competitors. So but this was also after like they asked you like 15 questions before that, which all of which you answered. So
no, what happened, I feel like now then I'd look at the playback, is that somebody asked me a question, I think it was her, about the revenue, how we make money. And I thought I'd pretty much made it clear we're a commission-based
you did
structure.
earlier. Did earlier. But
And
then she asked it again.
And she asked me again, and while I was in the middle of answering the question, another shark asked me another question, and my thoughts got diverted.
Yeah.
So I didn't know which question to ask first. So, my advice to the equity room for the future, if they want to do another episode, is let at least the whoever's on stage, let them finish their presentation, or at least give them a time frame. Say, okay, you have 4 uninterrupted minutes, and then after that, if you want to present anything else, then people can come in and tear you apart.
Yeah.
But at least like Shark Tank in the US has that format, right?
Yeah.
Like you come in, you give your presentation or whatever, you have the 4-5 minutes to like show what your thing is.
Yeah.
And then the sharks start coming in with the questions and
I think that's completely fair. But to be honest, they weren't doing that with everyone.
Okay.
So they were doing that with quite a few of the startups where they were immediately interrupted with so your valuation is $10 million. Are you Series A or are you seed funding? Or immediately before they've even opened their mouth, they were asked questions. But I think that you came on as part of the second panel.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of impatience by then because we were an hour and a half into the event already. It was a new panel.
So they don't know what second panel means. So second panel, so there were 2 sets of startups and 2 sets of sharks. So each panel was supposed to have 10 people presenting.
Yeah.
And the sharks would change because, they didn't want the same people to be sitting there for I think it took 3 hours to shoot it.
It took 4.5 hours. Total.
But the first round went longer, I feel.
The first round went longer, yeah.
Anyway, I was the first person in the second batch.
Second panel, yeah.
So all the sharks were fresh
and ready to bite into him.
And ready to bite into me.
Of course, I can't be completely objective about them, but I like to think that I'm a fair person, and during Sid's pitch, I was trying to objectively gauge, okay, if I was presenting in EjarCar instead of him, what would I have done differently? And honestly, he did a very good job of presenting it, but he wasn't given a chance, which is a learning.
So the reason I did this event was for 2 reasons. One is, of course, exposure. One was, first, of course, if we raised the money, that would have been amazing.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. But also exposure. So hopefully this gets made into a TV show, and it gets people hear about EjarCar and know what it is, and maybe it might lead to some sales for us. But apart from that, it was.
What if they don't keep you in the TV show?
If they don't keep me in the TV show, that's fine as well.
Yeah, it's practice.
Yeah, it's also practice.
Yeah.
And just at least the investors know who I am.
Yeah.
So that matters as well. So
for sure.
I think it was worth doing it, even though I didn't raise money.
Yeah, I think for me it was really hard that after seeing your pitch, I still had to go through the rest of the event and be like super chirpy on stage, where I was just like completely gutted.
Yeah.
And like a couple people asked me on WhatsApp, how you feeling, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I think Sid's handling it much better than I am, you know? I don't think that I have
Nah, man.
a good capacity
So,
for not winning.
like, I was super bummed out when I first got eliminated, and I was just thinking
Do
to
you think you
myself,
were too confident?
I don't think I was too confident. I think the sharks who were on my panel weren't interested in the concept.
Yeah.
So, it's two things. It's either like the investor needs to like what you're doing,
Yeah.
as well as make business sense.
Yeah.
So I think our idea makes business sense, but
But
I
maybe
think,
they're not into cars.
yeah, maybe they're not into
this
cars,
space.
or they don't like a tourist business, or they don't
Yeah.
like a business where you have to continuously do customer acquisition.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects to it.
Sure.
So I think there were a couple of reasons why they didn't go through, and I think maybe if the panel was different, of course, it
Yeah.
would have made a big difference.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, the Sharks panel that was there when you were pitching were mostly from healthcare sector, a little bit
Yeah.
of tech. You had the guy from Techstars, Vijay Teratre,
Yeah.
and marketing. So, but in the second panel, a lot of the startups were within the healthcare space because of that reason.
right. So so at the end of this podcast, I'm going to put my whole pitch,
Yeah.
including all the shock questions and all that. I also shot a vlog, by the way, in case you guys don't know. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Siddharth Vlogs. And so I did actually shoot a vlog of the whole behind the scenes of
Yeah.
what is going on, what is happening in the green room, a couple of the startups,
Yeah.
backstage. So if you guys want to go check it out, we'll leave it in the show notes.
Yeah.
So you can see exactly what happened for yourself.
Yeah,
But-
but I think it's also important for us to share our feedback on this experience, because I mean we've talked about we've done podcast episodes about how best to pitch and everything.
Yeah.
But I think as part of being a founder, you need to be thick-skinned. You need to roll with the punches, and this is something that this is an experience that we can learn a lot from, and maybe you can learn a little bit from it as well.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the startup that performed well on stage, and not because of their pitch, but because of their ability to defend their idea, was Colix.
Colix, yeah.
Yeah,
So Colix is a call center service
for SMEs
for
specifically.
SMEs, and their idea was that they're going to bring down the cost. So like you can get a package for 1,000 dirhams a month, and you can get a 24 hours call center service along with multiple languages.
Yeah.
And they have like an app and
they have a
dashboard where you can go in and put in all the questions like a FAQ, and you'll have a team handling it for you. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
They got interest from all the sharks.
Yeah, and one of the sharks was, it ended with one of the sharks saying that they're going to contribute with 1,000 SME customers and clients within a year for 10% equity. So basically 1 million for 10%.
How does it work out to 1 million though? They
I
charge
don't know.
1,000 dirhams per month. That's like if they get 1,000 SMEs for 1,000 dirhams a month,
it's
that's a
1.2.
million a month.
Yeah, but the shark did not want the SMEs to be charged 1,000 a month. He wanted them to be charged 100 a month.
Doesn't make sense. How can they bring their cost down so drastically? Anyway, so
Yeah.
that's what happened.
And then they said, let's take this conversation offline. Honestly, some of the questions that the sharks were asking were very fair. They were tough. They definitely came with a strong bite. But
I think all the questions they asked me were fair.
yeah,
They were all fair questions.
but they were a little bit early in the pitch.
Yeah, I just wish they had given me a little bit more time so that I could present it
Yeah.
instead of defending it
Yeah.
right away, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, if they're giving me time to present it, then I have a way that I want to go with a flow, you know,
Yeah.
there's a showmanship or whatever
Yeah.
there is, you know.
Yeah.
So that all got eliminated.
Yeah.
As soon as they started asking me questions, because it just killed my flow.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think some other guys felt that way too.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because I was backstage, the participants were coming back, and they were like, it was like as soon as I started, like it was just questions,
Yeah.
and I couldn't really present.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess maybe that's the format of the show, but I feel like at least the audience or the customers, I mean, the people who are watching should understand what the company is, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
You should get a chance to present. But even Calix, it was like, you know, they had like 3-4 slides and Calix, yeah.
Yeah.
They had they had 3-4 slides and a bunch of questions, then again another 3-4 slides and a bunch of questions, and they were like trying to get their slides across.
Yeah,
and like it was
yeah.
tough.
Yeah, but what happened in the case of Colix is he just talked faster. So that worked for him, and that was perceived as passionate or enthusiastic by the Sharks, which fair enough. He did a very good job in kind of sidestepping
Yeah, and he did
the
a good
questions.
job.
Yeah,
It was
he
a
did
good
a good
defense.
he did a good tango with the Sharks and stuff. And they were enjoying it, and the audience was enjoying it as well. So it's going to make for good TV.
Yeah.
And more than that, like, yes, there's a conversation offline that's happening about it. So
there were a couple of people who did get funded in the first panel.
yes,
So the first person who got any kind of commitment was this company called Zon. And what they were doing was quite interesting. So they are a peer-to-peer. Now, how did it work?
so the way Zone works
It's a decentralized e-commerce platform.
Yes, and they have AI technology that if I place an order for baby food or a smartphone, it connects to all offline retailers in my
Close to-
proximity.
Yeah, it's proximity based.
It's based. They get to bid on the cost, and then I am shown the best cost.
Yeah.
And it's on the retailer to deliver it to me within 3 hours.
Yeah.
So they don't take care of logistics. They just take care of the tech aspect of it.
Yeah, so the user experience would be I open the Zon app, I type anything. Apparently they're saying any item.
They said they have 7,000 partners
They already have 7,000 partners.
interested or on board. I don't
I think
know.
they're already onboarded. And I can put in like, I want the iPhone XS, and it'll show me one price.
But the best price within the vicinity.
Within the vicinity, like, so it'll check all the electronic stores close to me who will be bidding in real time, and I'll get one price. And then the way they make money is that they algorithmically know what the market rate is and what rate they're receiving from the bid system.
Yeah.
And they'll automatically...
It's dynamic pricing.
Yeah, it'll dynamically increase the price to be lower than market rate, but still
enough for them to make a commission.
Enough for them
I
to
think
make
the
a commission.
dynamic pricing is very interesting.
dynamic pricing. is good.
So some of the questions that Zone got asked was the pitch started with I have a niece and she's crying, and my aunt or someone needs to get baby food at 3 o'clock in the morning, but there's no solution for that, and why is there no e-commerce player that can deliver within 3 hours? And then went on with his pitch. And then
Yeah.
the Sharks were like, wait a second, are these offline retailers open at 3 o'clock in
Yeah.
the morning? And they kept talking about the product being baby food, but he's like, no, it's going to be about all products and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, so you're contacting offline retailers because they don't have an online presence, but you want them to manage the logistics of doing delivery within 3 hours?
Yeah.
Who is getting inducted?
Quality assurance will be hard.
Exactly.
But I mean, if they have enough momentum, like
Yeah.
if they have enough people using it, then it could be something that retailers get dependent on.
And if they have enough product inventory for a consumer, if I can type any product that I can potentially think of, And they were asking, how is it different from InstaShop? And he's like, see, it's not just baby food. And they're like, well, you started with the baby food pitch at 3 o'clock in the
but I think what they're doing is, from what I understood, is that they are using AI to figure out what the category of your product is. So when I say I want an iPhone 10, they know that it's a mobile phone, and they know that it's an electronic item, and so they will contact the electronic retailers.
Yeah.
If I say baby food, they know it's a food item.
Yeah,
it could
they'll
be a
find it.
pharmacy item and not a supermarket item.
Yeah.
And then it'll contact all the pharmacies, something like that.
Yeah.
So
No, I definitely think that there is merit to the idea. I definitely think that instant gratification is something that definitely can be explored on e-commerce and should be explored, and I think it would be received well. Do you want to mute that?
it's okay.
But I think some of the questions were completely fair, because like at one point his pitch was about but at the end of the day we are all about the data. And then Anvita, who was one of the sharks, was like, is that what you're planning to monetize? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, but that's not what you said your monetization model is. Your monetization model is the commission on products. And she was like, don't tell me that you're about data, because Facebook is about data and Google is about data. And in order for you to claim that you understand your user segment and you understand user behavior and that you can automate this data and get insights from this data, it takes time. Like a Souk or a Noon has a huge leg up on you compared to that.
Yeah, but like their whole pitch is that whatever you want to buy, you'd buy it on Zon, because you would definitely get the best price and you would get delivery and it'd be like in 3 hours. So, like
yeah, but to be honest,
that's not the
90%
reality.
of 90% of whatever you want to buy, you can buy on Souk.
Yeah, but their whole thing is that Souk takes a day to reach you.
Yes.
And
so their pitch
there's a
is
time-
whatever you want to buy at the best price within 3 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
immediately.
the quality assurance, that is
Sure.
like, I am interested to see how the logistics of this plays out.
Yeah.
Because it was one of the questions that they asked you.
Yeah.
You have 70 partners on board. How do you maintain quality across that?
So what we do is we have SLAs and then we weed out the partners who are not performing.
Yeah.
So if we consistently get bad, reviews or bad, like we follow up with every customer. So we know that, they didn't deliver on time, or
the
the
car
car
was
was
not
dirty,
clean,
or it wasn't the correct car, or whatever it is. And then if we receive too many complaints about it, then we just eliminate them as a partner.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, Zon raised $500,000
From 4 sharks.
from 4 sharks, and they were able to. They severely got undercut on their valuation.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a crazy valuation anyway.
Yeah.
But so their valuation, I think they valued themselves at $11 million.
Yeah. 11 or 12.
11 or 12 million dollars. They haven't even gone to market yet, but they were basing that valuation off the groundwork they've done to get 7,000 suppliers on board.
Yeah.
And they were looking to raise $2 million, right?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the commitments that were made.
Anyway, so they were able to raise $500,000 at a valuation of $2.5 million, so for 20%, which is I think that's more realistic valuation for a company like that doesn't have any revenue as yet, that is not in the market as yet. So yeah.
Okay, so basically they got from Anvita Varshne, Achal Ghai, Raza Jafar and Arif Sayed, who were the 4 out of 5 sharks from panel 1. They decided to co-invest $500,000 for 20% equity.
Okay.
And the asking was $2.2 million for 20%. So it's valued at $11 million, right?
2.2 million. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was very...
Who else raised?
So on Your Price, which is a platform where non-branded items can be listed.
Okay.
And people can define the price. So it can work for unbranded products or Chinese products or products that are like dead inventory and things that you're just holding on to. So instead of holding on to that inventory, people can list that product and customers can bid on the price.
Okay.
And then the highest price, there'll be a time where it closes, and then the highest price gets to
So it's kind of like an eBay.
kind of like an eBay, exactly.
Yeah.
So their asking was $600,000 for 30%. What they got from Arif Syed was $200,000 for 20%.
So what is the valuation that they had initially?
So the valuation that they had initially was
$300,000.
$600,000 for
For
30%. So that is
around 2 point something, 2 million or so.
let's do the math.
$2 million, I think. Roughly, it's fine.
Yeah.
600 into 3.33. Wait, this is too
2
slow.
million.
Yeah, so 2 million, roughly 2 million. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
So,
And instead, what they got was $200,000 for 20%.
so another startup that got funded was this company called Swapo. And so I know the two girls who founded the company. They were backstage with me. And they are a game exchanging platform for now. And then eventually they want to move to like swapping everything. But how they do it is like you can swap on the platform for free. They take care of the logistics, so they'll pick it up and they'll deliver it,
And they'll do quality checks on it.
and they'll do a quality check, and they charge you a fee for that, which is just a transportation fee, which is like $10 or 35 dirhams. So they got a $25,000 commitment
Yeah, from Achal Ghai, who was one of the sharks,
to do
for a pilot test.
to do a pilot
to see
test.
if this works.
Yeah.
Because basically, they were asking for money in order to market it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was their plan. They said they had the algorithm ready for the matchmaking, and they have all the logistics in place to like do the quality assurance for the games as of now, and repackage them and all that. So they needed funding. Their plan for funding was for marketing. In their pitch they had 90% marketing. So
yeah, their asking was $600,000 for 20%.
Which I was
for
telling
an
them.
idea stage startup.
Yeah, so they don't have they don't even have an app yet. They don't have a demo or anything. And when I was talking to the girls backstage, I was like, listen, no offense, but I think your valuation is a little too high. Like if you
It's
really
crazy.
want,
It's crazy.
if you really want to raise money, then I think lower your valuation a little bit, or your expectations at least.
No, but in general, I
'Cause they want
felt
to
that
raise
with
$600,000.
yeah, no, but in general, I felt that the valuation for almost all of the startups was cuckoo. Like, and I don't know if they were prepared.
Some of them had good valuation,
Okay, so Zon's valuation was 11 million.
which was ridiculous.
Yeah, then Surfy, which was the first
Considering
one.
it's not even in the market yet.
It's not in the market, but they have 7,000 partners on board or whatever.
Okay.
You had Yalla Pickup. Actually, I don't think Yalla Pickup's valuation was crazy.
Yalla Pickup's valuation. So Yalla Pickup is an application where you can
Which is Uber for trucks.
Uber for trucks, and they already have a bunch of traction. They've already raised $1 million before.
They've appeared on a ton of magazines. Honestly, that was a very good pitch.
I think it was a good pitch, and I think he deserved to raise that
yes,
round.
for sure.
And the Sharks didn't go through with it. I think he was looking for $2 million.
He was looking for 1 million at 20%, and they questioned his valuation. And I think that the Sharks were focusing quite a bit on his burn rate, because he said his burn rate was 40K a month.
Dollars, right?
Dirhams.
Dirhams, okay.
Dirhams. So, and they said that the barrier to entry for Uber to do this is very low. And he doesn't, Yalla Pickup doesn't hold any inventory. And
But Uber's not
But
going to come into the space.
yeah, and Uber doesn't own any inventory as well. So
Yeah.
I don't see. And honestly, he was funny on stage. He was charismatic on stage.
Yeah, it was good.
And he had a validated business idea. It exists right now.
Yeah. and
Yes,
he's
it's not
already
making
doing business.
money,
No,
but-
he is making money. I mean, he's not profitable, but
He's
he's.
not profitable, but yeah, he is making money. He had, I believe, 50
I don't even know,
trucks.
honestly, if he's not profitable. I'm not sure.
No, but his burn rate was higher than his
Income?
income.
Are you sure?
Isn't that what burn rate is?
No, burn rate is just how much are you spending per month.
No. Is that what it is?
Yeah, like how much are you spending per month on customer acquisition? Like that's your burn rate.
Well, they asked him what his costs per month are, and he said that was 15,000, not including his salary, which I believe he's not taking right now. Then they asked him what his burn rate was, and he said it's 40,000.
So he must be spending at least 25 on marketing and 15 as his salary. So that's total burn rate of 40.
No, but he said his costs right now are 15,000 dirhams a month.
No, but that cost must not include marketing. Otherwise, what would be the 40K as his burn rate? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
That's
Let's cut all of this out.
no,
but-
let's not
but-
cut
but-
it out. But whatever. Yeah.
No, but I am curious. I thought burn rate was the
Burn rate is-
amount of money that you're losing every month
No, okay.
after removing your.
There are a lot of startups that don't have a monetization model right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like say for example, when Facebook started, they didn't have a monetization model.
Yeah.
So their burn rate is 100% all their expenses per month.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever they spend on marketing, whatever they spend on salaries, whatever they spend on development, that total amount is their burn rate.
Yeah.
So for startups, like for us as well, I count my burn rate to be all our expenses, including marketing and everything. If you don't
But
consider
you
revenue,
don't count the revenue minus the
no, that's your profit.
the expenses as the burn rate.
No, that's your profit. Like your burn rate is what are your recurring expenses
Okay.
on a monthly basis.
So I guess in that sense, then I'm not sure what the two different costs were. One was 15,000, I know, and one was 40,000.
Maybe salaries and marketing.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Yeah.
Potentially. Anyway, but I actually think he presented it really well. I do think that he was also interrupted with quite a few questions.
Yeah.
And
He's a really
and
nice
like
guy.
and so their whole thing was that the barrier to entry for someone else is not that high. Firstly, because you don't even own inventory or anything, which I don't think is a big thing. The second thing was the whole burn rate question and everything.
Yeah.
And the third thing was, how are you different from Trucker or Fetcher or things like that?
I mean, they're different from Fetcher.
They're different from Fetcher, and that's what he was trying to explain. He's like, we're different from Fetcher, but Fetcher can rely on us for things.
Yeah.
We can partner with Fetcher. But Trucker, they're not different from Trucker.
Trucker is very similar business
So
model.
they said that you don't have a differentiated enough business model or USP. They were going back and forth on the USP question.
But
And
why?
so-
They're like, so when I spoke to him backstage, he was also like, our technology is different. Our backend is different.
But he didn't explain that.
He didn't get a chance to explain it.
Maybe he didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to explain that.
So-
So I think that was I don't think that's a ridiculous valuation.
And even if you're not differentiated that much, okay, you still can beat the competition with other factors like pricing or maybe slightly better technology or
Yeah.
you know, like just because there's a souk doesn't mean there's no room for a Jadu Padu or a Noon or
yeah.
you know.
I
so-
mean, Kareem's killing it, and it was second to market.
yeah.
So what Kareem did better than Uber is Kareem listened to the market and did a couple of things that were best suited for this market. They accepted cash as payment.
Yeah, but they also got a lot of funding
They got
early.
a huge amount of funding to
So
scale.
I think they actually probably spent more in marketing also than what Uber
did.
spent when they came to market here.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think they focused enough on this market in terms of marketing
scale,
themselves.
Yeah.
So Kareem went all in, like it was this region specific. So
Yeah. And I think Kareem has been very smart about their marketing as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, how he was saying that he can differentiate himself is he was like, I need the funding in order to be able to do the marketing, in order to be top of mind with people, and in
Yeah.
order, I need the funding to scale.
Yeah.
That's what everyone's here for, right? Like,
Not everybody was there for scale though. Like
Yeah.
some people were there like
for exposure only.
no, just to get their product off the ground. So there were quite a few companies that were like super seed.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I have an idea, just idea stage, and like, oh, I think this idea could work, and I want like $600,000. You know, which I think was a lot. And then there were companies like Yella Pickup, which I think were already functional for 2 years, 3 years. They're already doing business. They have customers. They have people who are using the app on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Kind of like EjarCar.
Close to EjarCar, exactly.
Yeah, so EjarCar might be
a little bit earlier than...
a few months behind Yella Motor
Yeah,
in
that's
terms
what
of
I mean.
scale.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think his valuation should have been considered. I think there was another good startup. It was called Nischint, and they are already profitable, and they have this application. You guys can go check it out. Nischint.com. I think I forgot the URL. Anyway, you guys can go check it out, and they have an app where you can take control of a child's iPad. And so it uses Apple Classroom as its back end and a Google Classroom as well. And what it allows you to do is lock down the iPad so your kids can only see a particular kind of thing.
A different specific interface.
Yeah,
with
it's a
4
different
5 apps. Yeah.
Yeah, so they can't surf the web or they can't see bad stuff on YouTube or whatever it is. But they also have, what is more interesting, a classroom application where like teachers can push content to kids' iPads. So like it forces the screen to refresh with something. So if a teacher is talking about some video on YouTube, she can just, from her command console or from her console, she can just push her video to all the kids, all the classrooms, screens, and they can all view the video simultaneously, or whether it's notes or whether it's an image or whatever it is. And he's already in most of the schools in the Bible.
Yeah, so he has 20 schools on board. The guy presenting this chint is Raghav Memani.
Yeah.
And I think he did a good job on stage as well.
Very nice guy. I met him backstage as well.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I don't know why it didn't go his way. So he was asking for I'll tell you now. Nischint. He was asking for 1 million. I don't know for how much percent. But Ajmal, who was the tech shark, said he was interested in talking to him offline.
Yeah, so I think he wanted 1 million for 15%. And I think he's already doing revenue worth around 2 million dirhams a year.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And organically without, having... Yeah, so...
No, I think it's a very smart idea. I actually also really liked the idea of Fitterfly, which is an app platform which helps parents monitor their kids' fitness and energy levels and diet as well. These two guys came down from India. I think that is a really... Like, if we're just talking in terms of the idea, I think that is something that's very interesting.
Yeah. They'd already raised $1 million or something like that in India. And they were looking to raise their second round, I think, for $2 million.
I can tell you. So, Fitterfly was looking to raise... I don't have that amount. No commitment.
Yeah.
The shark from Tirutrai, the shark from Techstars, Vijay, was interested in talking to them offline again.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, I think let's wind up over here.
Yeah. So we've done a couple of shout outs to the startups that we feel like had a lot of potential.
One of them was Moduware.
Moduware.
And these guys were so they had some really cool stuff. They have hardware that you can put on the back of your phone, and it makes your phone like modular.
Yeah.
So they have like these little tiles that you can slide into it, and then it gives your phone extra functionality, like, you know,
Extra SD card.
SD card, cameras,
Light.
and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
they were really cool.
That you've covered in your videos.
So yeah, if you guys see my vlog, you'll see what Moduware is about. And I wanted to get him on the show actually as a speaker,
Yeah.
you know, as a guest. To see his journey, because they also already raised about $1.5 million to get production, and he wanted to raise another round because he needs to fulfill some orders. So anyway, we'll try to get him on the show, but
Yeah.
if you want to check it out, you can see it on my vlog, which I'll leave a link in the description. You can check out what it looks like. So Turbos, by the way, you can what they do is if you want to buy or sell a business, it's a platform to buy and sell businesses.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So if you're interested in, like, you have extra cash, you feel like you want to pick up a business or two.
Yeah, if you
can
want to
go
buy
to
EjarCar. Actually, we're not selling EjarCar.
You can buy 20% of EjarCar if you're interested.
Yeah, for $200,000. Yes. No, but overall, I think overall thoughts on the complete experience.
I think, them taking the initiative to create an event like this is really cool, because it kind of glamorizes the startup industry, and that hopefully should lead to more investment and, in turn, the ecosystem growing for everybody.
More education for
more
sure.
education and understanding about how it works. So hats off to the team at Gulf Events to put this together. Hopefully you might see our faces on TV.
Yeah, I think I may be replaced by a voiceover on TV. But either way, it was a really interesting event to be a part of. For EjarCar, the next time we're pitching, we'd be
more prepared.
We'd be better prepared for some unexpected curveballs. So I think that overall, like, no regrets, awesome event, really fun experience, and it was nice to be part of Dubai's Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright guys, so that's it. I'm gonna leave this podcast off with my pitch, so you guys can watch and listen to the pitch if you want and see me tank.
You did not tank. You did not tank.
I don't think I tanked, but obviously I didn't convince them. But anyway,
yeah, so
see you guys in the next one.
Keep on hustling.
Hello Sharks, my name is Siddharth and I'm the founder of EjarCar. And ever since I was a kid, I had two passions. One was cars and the other was technology. So I decided to merge my two passions and create UAE's largest car rental marketplace, which is EjarCar.com. So what we found out was that the small to medium-sized car rental companies actually have up to 20% better rates. And they also have a much better selection of cars. So they have all different kinds of cars, right? From luxury cars to mid-range. But they don't have the skills to really, the technology or the marketing skills to really go online. So that's where EjarCar comes in. We're a tech platform that allows the small to medium-sized car rental companies to go online. So we have our own booking engine. And then we also aggregate all that information into our marketplace, which is EjarCar.com, and you can choose from a huge selection of cars, and we have up to 20% better rates than the competition. Customers can book and pay online and get delivery in the city.
Can I just pause you there for a minute?
Sure.
When you say 20% lower rates than the market, can you explain what sort of research have you done when it comes to your competitors who's existing in the market, say, last decade?
So we've been looking at car rental rates for a long time now when we started this business. And what happens is that because of our technology and the way that we implement it, we get rates from up to 70 different car rental companies, and we choose the best rate for a particular car for every model. That allows us to have that slightly better rate than the market rate because we're comparing against so many different car companies.
How do you do that? You have a technology, you have artificial intelligence. What do you have in the back end?
Yes, we have an algorithm that sorts out all the different cars available from all our partners. We have over 70 car rental partners on board. and then we choose the best rate for a particular car, and that's what's shown on the website. So we only show one rate per car. That's how we
So what's your cost structure when you say you're giving 20% discount? What's your cost structure? How do you make money?
20% discount? Yeah, so we still make a commission on that transaction. It's just that our overall rate is about 15 to 20% lower than the market rate.
So how do you do that? Do you negotiate backwards with the supplier, or how do you do that?
Yes, we do. So our suppliers know that it's like a competition. So whoever is giving us the lowest rate, their car is going to show up on the platform. So they compete between themselves to give us low rates. So for example, like we have 4 partners that have Toyota Land Cruiser for rent. The first one might be giving it for 500. The second is giving it for 600, 650. We'll put the 500 on our platform. So that's how we bring
How do you ensure quality? Because if you have 70 small companies giving you cars, the customer doesn't get the same experience. The 70 different suppliers.
So we make sure that whenever we sign up a company, that we do some kind of quality assurance on them. So we know that they're providing a certain level of service. And also
you have an SLA with somebody. You have an SLA.
Yes, essentially we have an SLA saying that we need to deliver in this time frame, and then we need this quality of car, the cleanliness and all that. Also, the customers can reject the car once they receive it. If you let me continue with my presentation, I can show you how it works.
Just one quick question before that. The site is operational already?
Sorry?
The
Yes,
site
we
is
are operational.
Yeah.
We're already charging people. We already have customers.
How many vendors have you signed so far?
So we have about 70 partners across all our services. So I can show you some of the services that we have. There's a video that's supposed to be auto-playing over here. But anyway, so what happens is that the customer actually pays only 15% online to reserve the car. When the car rental company gets notified, they deliver the car, at which time they collect the balance payment from the customer itself. The customer has the option to reject the car at the time, and we will refund the payment to them. But basically, the online booking fee is to ensure that they're serious about taking the car, and that's when we deliver it to them. So that's how it works. That's how the whole system works.
So let's understand who the customer is. Who is your target audience?
So our target audience is mostly tourists who are looking to move to Dubai. So we actually have 4 verticals that we work on. So we have short-term car rentals. Here's the demo of what the site looks like. We have a huge selection of cars, over 100 different kinds of cars. And a lot of our customers go for exotic vehicles, luxury vehicles, and that's the kind of customer base that we've attracted because of our huge selection. So we have unique cars on the platform like Teslas and Mercedes, G500 4x4 squares, really rare cars.
Sorry, can you explain your revenue model in detail?
Yeah. So how we work is that we partner with all these car rental companies and we ask them to give us their price list through our platform. Then we compare all the rates against all the car rental companies that are partnered with us, and then we choose the best rate. Once that rate is live, we only show one price per car on our platform.
It's like an aggregator model.
It's an aggregator model, basically. Yeah.
So aggregators are getting out of business slowly. You have to have some more value.
So we provide value. We provide value in the way that we have the largest selection of cars available. We also have other services like limo bookings. So this is chauffeur-driven services. So overwhelmingly, our customers are saying that they want cars with drivers. So that's what we have done now. We recently launched EjarCar limo services. So this is chauffeur-driven services, but also we have different kinds of vehicles. Not only the ES350 that maybe you would get on a Kareem or something, but we have luxury vehicles like S-Class 7 Series with driver.
Sorry, you work in collaboration with Kareem and...
No, we do not. I'm just comparing ourselves, how we differ in our limo services.
How do you compete if you have a limo with driver? How do you compete with the Ubers and the Kareems of the world? Because they have luxury cars as well. They have Teslas as well.
But we also have buses. We also have exotic vehicles. We have cars like Rolls-Royce, which they don't offer on their platform.
So you don't have really a target segment, right? You're just going for everybody and anybody.
You mentioned that it's tourists, so what I wanted to understand is how do tourists get to know about your website?
So we've been working very hard on our SEO, and if I can move ahead, we have car leasing as well. All these experiences are related around car rentals. So we have car rental self-drive, we have car rental with driver, and then we have car leasing, which is a long-term car lease. So if you need to rent any kind of car for any purpose, you want to come to EjarCar. That's basically what we're trying to do.
But then usually, when a tourist is coming into the city, he is renting a car from the car booths which are available there, or...
A lot of people actually pre-book their cars. And especially if they're looking for a particular car, like the cars that we have on our platform, they pre-book. And we have customers who prove that. I mean,
So Dubai, or if you're very local, then how do you sort of scale up this model? How do you
so basically, we've built all our tech. The whole platform is built for scale. So if we wanted to recreate this in any other city, we could very easily. It just requires a little bit of business development, getting partners on board in the city, and then we should be able to start in any city with the same platform.
So are you in Dubai only? That's
We are currently doing it in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. 2 cities we've opened up. We're going to open up Sharjah very soon as well.
So this is a aggregator model.
Yes.
And other than the fact that I heard you saying you have door-to-door delivery,
Yes.
I don't see any other unique value proposition.
I'm out.
And
I'm out of
for
this
that
model.
purpose,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Thank you. Sorry?
It's not a very intriguing model, so I'm out.
Intriguing model. All right. Fine for
I
you.
want to understand more about your revenue model because I still
So I can show you more about our revenue model. So this is how we differ from the competition. All right. So in the market right now, we have people like Wiser Motors and One Click Drive who only do like classified. Basically, they just list all the cars available from all these people. And then we have international partners like rentalcars.com or Priceline who only work with top tier car rental companies like Hertz and A-List and those kind of companies. We have Turo in the US, which has raised $180 million, and they're the closest to what we are doing, which is to have more of a peer-to-peer kind of model. Because we deal with the small to medium-sized car rental companies, we get much better rates in the largest selection. That's what Turo does as well, but they do peer-to-peer. And that's why EjarCar sits right, very localized and e-commerce enabled with our own booking engine.
Okay, one last question on the technology side.
Sure.
Are you using bots or blockchain in this?
No, we're not using blocks or blockchain. We are using our proprietary custom coded engine.
I'm sorry, I'm out as well because if you do your research a bit more, there are players who are already out there and they are using bots and they are using blockchain right now for similar applications. I'm out.
All right.
Me too, I didn't understand yet the revenue model.
So the revenue model. Let me take you to the
I'm out.
I think you're- Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.